Okay, welcome to those that have joined us here in council chambers, as well as those that are sharing our meeting from home. This is the meeting of the Poquoson City Council. It's our regular session for Monday, September 14th. If you were watching earlier, you saw our previous work session dealing with sign ordinances, but now we've moved on to the regular session. I'll call that meeting to order. And I'll ask that you all please rise as I lead you in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for the many blessings we've received in our city and throughout our region. As we move forward with the issues that affect our citizens, we ask that we keep all of those in mind that these impact or that they affect, and that we're wise in those decisions. As always, we ask for your presence and your support, that they be felt and provided to those who serve us, either in public safety or in our military, as they serve each and every American. And we do all of this in your Son's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mr. President, if you'll join me right here at the podium, we'll start with a special presentation and a proclamation for Constitution Week. If you stand over there, they'll be able to hear me on the microphone.
That's great.
Thanks. And then I will let you speak. All right. This is a proclamation. It is Constitution Week in the nation, and it's really celebrated here in the city of Poquoson. I'll just read this proclamation. Whereas it is the privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate the 233rd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuance of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States designating September 17th through the 23rd of each year as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, W. Eugene Hunt, Jr., Mayor of the City of Poquoson, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. I urge all citizens to study the Constitution and express gratitude for the privilege of American citizenship in our republic, functioning under the superb body of laws, the Constitution of the United States. And there it's hereby signed by myself. So, Mr. President, I present this to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And can I?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And if you would like to address the group, let us know.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And I appreciate the council and your time tonight. The Constitution is our most valuable document, we the people, and it puts together the fabric of who we are and what makes us the most desirable country on planet Earth. I do encourage everybody to go back and read it if you haven't lately. I tend to read it every year now, and it is always awe-inspiring when I do. And I thank you again. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for attending.
Okay, thank you.
All right, some new employees to introduce this evening, and we'll start with Battalion Chief Joe Breeden, and you're going to come up and introduce Joshua Reed.
Yes, sir. Take this off. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. It's my pleasure this evening to introduce our newest employee, Joshua Reed. He's a firefighter paramedic, formerly of a neighboring department. Decided he liked our way of life a little bit better and chose to come over here and be part of our family. So with that, I will give him an opportunity to say a few words about himself.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to come here tonight and meet everybody. Like I said, my name is Josh Reed. I'm 31, going on 32. I've been in this area for the majority of my life. My dad was in the military, moved around a lot. I was hired in Hampton Fire Department in 2013. Spent my time there, got a vast array of experience, and I'm really excited to start my journey here in Poquoson and bring my skills and abilities here to the city and to the citizens, and I really appreciate the opportunity that everyone has allowed me to do that here.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming this evening. We look forward to working with you. I have to apologize in advance for some of the things that go on down in the fire department. You know.
I've been in long enough.
But they are a good meeting group by it, you know. So
Absolutely.
besides all the ribbing and all the fun that they will have on your behalf and others,
I fit right in.
I look forward to that. I would look forward to seeing you around the city.
I appreciate you.
All right, thank you, sir. And Joe, I didn't mean anything by that. All right, and then in community development, I guess the director of our community development, Mr. Wally Horton, is going to introduce us to Danielle Quick.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, it is indeed a pleasure to introduce our new environmental compliance officer, Ms. Danielle Quick. She's filling in the shoes formerly left here by Kieran Holloway. So, but she's off to a great start. We've already done some training programs, and she's inspired me to get certified in some of the areas too, so that we have some overlap. We've got overlap in just about every area except for, you know, stuff doing with ENS and stormwater. So it's a pleasure to have her, and without further ado.
Excellent, thank you. Danielle?
Absolutely. So it's a pleasure to be working with you guys. My background is in remote sensing, actually. I have a degree in biological sciences with concentration in zoology for wildlife biology. And I spent 4 years working at NASA before I found you guys and decided to jump ship to private sector, or, you know, local government. So I'm really, really excited to be here, and I look forward to many years of being here.
Excellent. We look forward to working with you, Danielle, and please try to keep Wally straight. Try and give him some more qualifications and all that sort of stuff. But look, I'll tell you, look, we're a city I keep telling people, we're a city of 6 miles wide with 90 miles of shoreline.
It's true.
So your job is to watch over those shorelines with the element of balance between the environment and the citizens. So appreciate that. That's a difficult task at times.
Absolutely,
But we
but I
look
love
forward
it.
to it. Okay?
Thank you so
All right,
much.
look forward to working with you.
As do I.
All right, that's it for special presentations this evening. Next is an audience for visitors. If there's anybody here that would like to address council on any subject, now is that time. Okay? Seeing none, I'll close the audience for visitors and ask council for consideration of the minutes from the last meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve our minutes of our regular session of August the 10th, 2020.
Second.
Okay, motion made and second that we approve the minutes of the regular session August 10th. Questions or comments of council? Seeing none, Evie, please.
Certainly, thank you. Councilman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Hucks?
Aye.
Councilman Canella? Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman? And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Very well. And the work session?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve our minutes of the work session of the same night.
Okay, motion made and second that we approve those also. Questions or comments of council? Seeing none, Evie, please.
Thank you. Councilman Canella?
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman? Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Hucks?
Aye.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, very well. Next section on the agenda this evening are public hearings. We have 2 of those. The first is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Poquoson by revising Chapter 6 on advertising. And I'll note that this was also the subject of our previous work session. So first, I think we'll start with the introduction by staff. So Dan, you going to do this one?
Well, the presentation was basically already done for the work session, so it's the same ordinance.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Just can you run through it, just your opening, and you don't have to go through the whole presentation, but just introduce the subject.
Sure. So, as was discussed, this is an amendment to Chapter 6, advertising of our Code of Ordinances regarding signs in the public right-of-way. So we are amending the existing chapter to better reflect our current practices and to take into account some of City Council and Planning Commission's recommendations regarding regulation of signs. The two big changes that were discussed in the work session that are different from our current practice would be this new 20-foot rule for signs above 4 square feet, setback from the right-of-way, and also the prohibition at intersections, which is now 200 feet and is extended to the intersection of City Hall Avenue, and depending on the will of council, also the Municipal Drive intersection.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions of council? I think we got a pretty good brief. I just want to make sure that the public heard what we were doing. All right, so I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's any comments on this proposed change. Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for consideration by council.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Poquoson, Virginia by revising Chapter 6, advertising, and under Section 6-115, delete the sixth item, Poquoson Avenue Municipal Drive.
Second.
Okay, so we have the motion made and seconded with, as adopted, to strike that one section to move forward with changing the sign ordinance. Questions or comments by council? Okay, seeing none, Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hux.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Cannella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews.
Aye.
Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you very much. The next public hearing is a request for a conditional use permit for uses that are not specified in the R2 zoning district by Mr. Joseph Hanberry. The property owner, that's tax map parcel 30, TAC 3, TAC 3, or located at 128 Church Street. Wally, you want to give us a quick
Thank you.
brief?
Yeah, very briefly. Many things I want to point out is that this was brought up by a complaint. I don't see the complainant here tonight, but that's how we got involved. The second thing I'd want to indicate, I think everything's pretty much contained in here, but if you look at Appendix 2, Appendix 2 will essentially become the conditions unless City Council should put some conditions on tonight as part of any approval of this application. That's attachment 2. It's 3-page. Basically, Mr. Hanberry was responded to a letter of inquiry that we sent and provided these answers. So this is how his business is operating right now. That's about all I've got to say. You've got pictures in there. You've got the resolution to approve or to deny and the packet that's towards the back. So I think you got just about anything else, but I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay, questions of council? Okay, is anybody prepared to move forward with a motion on this? Oh, I'm sorry. It is a public hearing, and I'll open that public hearing to hear if there's anybody that would like to address council on this issue. Yes, sir?
Good evening, City Council. I'm Joseph Hanberry. Everybody knows me as Joey. I've lived here I wasn't born here, but I got here as quick as I could. My grandparents were for us, Charlie Hicks for us, and I grew up around Mr. Southall over there. So he can, don't believe half of what he tells you. Anyway, I've been operating a sign business out in the open in my garage, which is 2,500 square foot. I know Mr. Hucks has been there before, and Thomas has been there before, and I know Miss Jenna's been there before because I made their signs, and the mayor as well. And it's a quiet business that I have. The only thing that we stay, the garage is so big that I have enough room to pull vehicles inside and letter them, so they're out of the public preview. Plus, I have a 7-foot privacy fence around the back of my property, so nobody can see it anyway. The only time we ever do anything outside is if we get a big truck. We'll do maybe 3 or 4 of them a year. And the loudest tool that we'll use out there is a heat gun, which doesn't make any more temperature than a blow dryer. We don't play loud music or nothing like that. We can stay quiet. Like I said, we've been there for over 20 years now, and have never had any complaints of any substance. And as far as Mr. Horton was talking about the differences that we made, I had one employee that was parking out on the street, and church is narrow, not as narrow as Lodge, but it's a little bit narrow, so I told him not to park in front of there no more. We do get deliveries there. They're usually between the hours of like 10:30 to noon. The vehicles that come there are only there for like 10 or 15 minutes and they're gone. They don't block the traffic or anything like that. The other thing that we did is that I was storing some signs and stuff behind the garage that only the guy behind me could see, and they're no longer there. We took all of those out of there. So there's nothing that says sign business around my house anymore. I've done a lot of charity work for the city and want to continue to do so. The reason why I'm there is because there's no place in Poquoson that could house my businesses in. So when we bought the house, it was with the intention of moving my business in there. I have a second business. It's called goingposthole.com. We do signpost installation for real estate companies. That's an internet-based company. I have 250 square foot storage units in York County that we store everything in. So we don't do anything for that as well. Those are all kept in York County, but Poquoson gets the benefit because it's based out of here, so y'all get my tax revenue, which I'd rather give it to y'all than York County. Anyway, that's all I got to say, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Hamburg. Appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Could I ask a question? Gene?
Sure.
Joey, would you say that your business is Monday through Friday?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes I was there, but it's right on.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak at the public hearing? Okay, if not, I'll close the public hearing and ask for consideration by council.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance approving a conditional use permit for a use not specified in the R2 zoning district with under section 1 an additional condition that just specifies the hours of operation from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded that we adopt the ordinance with the hours of operation inserted. Okay, questions or comments of council?
Just questions. There seemed to be some concern with vehicles on the street. I live right around the corner from there, so I know and I have been there to get signs, so I do know that street is small. I mean, should we consider putting something in that just says that vehicles can't be parked on the street? Because I know he has plenty of room, in the driveway to park them in there. Like business vehicles, like if somebody's coming, I don't know,
Okay.
just a thought.
We can consider that. Motion made and seconded, right? Okay. So council, how would y'all like to proceed? I'm okay with it as is, but if anybody would like to add additional stuff to it, I'm open-minded. Okay, seeing none, anything else you'd like to consider? All right. Anybody else, any other council members? Okay. Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilman Hucks,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman. Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Canella,
Aye.
and Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you very much. That is all the public hearings this evening, so we're on to new business. First item under new business is an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2020 in the general fund, and this deals with the Federal CARES Act funding.
Good evening. Hope everybody's well. Tonight I bring to you an ordinance to appropriate the undesignated CARES fund of roughly $261,810 towards payroll costs for public safety and designated employees whose time was substantially dedicated to mitigating the virus. This request comes to you tonight as part of the allowable reimbursements that the CARE funding allows for and is provided to you through the U.S. Treasury guidance. So the reason why I bring this tonight, I've got to close out year end. I need your blessing to do so.
Okay,
Welcome
very
any
much.
questions.
any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Is there a motion to proceed?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance making transfers for fiscal year 2020 in general fund for the Federal CARES Act funding.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded that we adopt this ordinance, move the money around within the various funds so we can close out the accounting year. Okay. Any questions or comments? Evie, please.
Certainly. Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Canella,
Aye.
Councilman Hucks,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
and Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, the next item under new business is an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2021 in the general fund, and this deals with a fire grant.
That is correct. Fire has done it again. They've got yet another grant. With this is to replace their self-contained breathing apparatuses. The total cost for these is $195,000. The grant provides $155,000. They have secured a donation from the Poquoson Volunteer Fire Department for $7,733. And the remaining amount will come from the fire fund grant that I've asked for reappropriation again tonight. So part of this contract amount exceeds the city manager's threshold. So also in the ordinance, I'm requesting your approval to allow the city manager to enter into contract to purchase these items. And we do have Joe Breeden here tonight if you have any questions concerning the apparatuses in which we're going to purchase with the grant funding.
Okay, Joe, I don't want you to make you come and not speak, because this always also gives us an opportunity to thank you and your leadership and the leadership of the fire department in general for writing all these grants. And
Well, we appreciate that, and, you know, grants are a funny thing in the aspect that once you get one, you want to get another one. And personally, this is, while it's not the largest in finance, in money, it is the, probably the most prestigious to get, because this grant, we were up against every other fire department in the country that also was going for the same money, and we were awarded in the second round. So for me personally, that's my sense of accomplishment. Plus, we get to upgrade our SCBA's, which were still functioning, but there's a timeline on everything. And we're able to replace them before we have failures instead of trying to catch up after the fact. So we're trying to be proactive. These SCBA's also have a lot of built-in safety features that are newer things where we can track air usage. We can, as certain things develop in these packs as we move forward, we'll actually be able to track the firefighters themselves. So all good safety stuff, things that are going to make, my people on the fire ground that much safer. The ergonomics of these packs is greatly improved. So back strain, firefighter fatigue, things like that will also be significantly reduced. So good savings all the way around. But if you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you. I would say that it's most pressing as well because it's closest to the employees and their safety. So thank you for putting that in and thinking about our staff in that manner. Okay. So thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Anybody prepared to move forward with a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2021 in general fund for the fire grant.
Second.
A motion made and second that we adopt the ordinance and that we authorize the city manager to enter into contract. All right, Evie, please.
Thank you. Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Hux,
Aye.
Councilman Canella,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman,
Aye.
and Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Very well. The next item under new business is an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2021 in the capital project fund. And this deals with body-worn cameras for the police department.
That is correct. So tonight, I do have a unique request made by the police department to purchase the body-worn cameras. The total cost to purchase the cameras is $139,750. It is a 5-year contract that's broken over equal payments of $27,950. So the first amount would come from undesignated capital project fund balance, and then the remaining 4 years will be put into the general fund budget for your approval later on. Finally, this is similar to just the recent fire grant. We do need your approval to allow the city manager to enter into the contract. Since the total contract is $139,000, we do need your authorization for him to do so. Tonight, I do have with us Chief Ward as well as Lieutenant Farrington here to answer any questions as it relates to the importance to the police department for these cameras.
Okay. I'll offer for you guys to come up because, I can read the words here, but I think the public needs to hear why the police department want this, and I'm wholeheartedly behind it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me. The word transparency is a big word right now. So getting the body-worn cameras will certainly be a powerful tool for our police department and our officers in safety. Now, when I came back to serve, Lieutenant Farrington was doing all of the research on these cameras by Axon, I believe it's called, Axon Enterprises. So he had all of the bells and whistles, he knew what they would do. But I do want to give you a little history, just real quick, on some cameras. Years ago, we got little cameras that fit on your tie. And they were put out by Division of Motor Vehicles under a DUI grant. I got the cameras by attending a meeting that was in Williamsburg, and it was a test trial for these cameras. And what you had to do, they had about 15 minutes of recording time on them, and they were to be used in DUIs for like doing sobriety tests and things like that, and gathering evidence. So we tested those cameras, and they were pretty good, but they were real shaky because you wore them on your shirt, and when you turned, they would shake or they would point down. But you could hear and you could see basically what was going on. Well, a long story short, those cameras saved us 2 times on people making accusations against our officers, and we were able to pull that footage up on the computer and show these folks that that did not occur. And it was resolved immediately. Now, I saw right then that cameras were probably going to be a big thing in the future. And so therefore, it looks like it is. We had moved in, we saw the importance that we got the dash cams. Okay, they're great, but when the the lights were on, the dash cam was shining down the road, and what you had is the mic that the officer had, and you could hear the interaction if the mic would work back to the camera. But you were seeing it at a long shot. With these cameras, you're up close, right there, it's with the officer all the time. So I see it as a great and powerful tool for these officers, and they were, time I walked in the door, this was a big deal to them. They wanted to move forward with it. So I'm going, any bells and whistles you want to know about that they will do, this man is the expert.
Roger that. So, Lieutenant Farrington, you want to come up and let us know exactly what you're buying here?
So Chief kind of hit the nail on the head. Axon's an elite company. They're cream of the crop in terms of body-worn cameras. It's a fabulous camera that will be mounted on the outermost garment, whether it's a vest, whether it's an investigator with a jacket or a dress suit they could fit in the pocket. But not only, to piggyback off of what Chief said, at the police department, if you come into our apartment in the lobby, you see it that we preserve a safe and secure environment by providing fair, friendly, and professional law enforcement to our community. So these cameras not only will protect the officer to back them up on scenes, in a fight, and anything like that, and we all know what's going on in today's society, but it will also allow the command staff to ensure that if we're preaching to fair, friendly, and professional law enforcement, we can review these videos to make sure our officers on the street are providing that service that we're preaching to the community. They're a great camera. Once you dock them, in their dock station, they download within, depends on 15 seconds to a minute and a half. All that video goes to our air cloud. You can log in, you can pull the video up. It can be linked directly to Commonwealth Attorney. You can review it within minutes to go back to your hour-long scene investigation, to go back and get your detailed probable cause before you go forward with your case or finish your narrative. So these cameras are huge in just taking that next step to not only, like I said, protect the officer, but to make sure that our officers are providing that service that we expect them to provide.
Thank you very much. Great explanation. Thank you, Chief, as well, and thank you for serving with us as well.
It's been an honor to come back and be asked to serve for a little while.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing that. All right, Council, are you prepared to move forward with this issue, with this item?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2021 in capital project fund for body-worn cameras for the police department.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. We approve this ordinance and allow the city manager to enter into contract. So, Evie, please.
Certainly, thank you. Councilwoman Andrews? Councilman Canella?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman?
Aye.
Councilman Hux?
Aye.
Councilman Green?
Aye.
Mayor Hunt?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you very much. The next item is under new business is an ordinance amending the personnel policy manual, and this deals with holidays. So Graham, are there still holidays in 2020? It's been such an awful year.
We're gonna add another one.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Mayor and council members, tonight, just as an amendment to our personnel policies is reflected because of the 2020 General Assembly. This year, they introduced legislation and adopted it later as a law to make Election Day a holiday. Election Day is the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. In addition to that change, they removed Lee Jackson Day as a state holiday. We follow those holidays from the city of Poquoson, and so this tonight, with your consent, will allow us to continue to do so, and it updates our personnel policies to reflect that. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Okay, questions of council? Thank you. All right, anybody prepared to move forward with the motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance amending the personnel policy manual for the city of Poquoson regarding holidays.
Second.
A motion made and seconded. We approve this change to our personnel policy. Final questions or comments of council? All right, Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilman Canella,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews, Councilman Green,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilman Hux,
Aye.
and Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, very well. Comments of the city manager. Randy, you out there?
Yes, sir. Thank you for allowing me to participate this evening by phone. Just a few comments. One, I want to thank the council and the staff for your work and your decision tonight on the sign ordinance. We've been working to reconcile the contradictions and conflicts between the Appendix D and Chapter 6 for several years, and tonight moved that along in a significant way, and I thank you for that. I also wanted to express my thanks to the Commonwealth Attorney, Benji Hahn, and York County. They've been working with us to ensure that the body cam program that Council just approved a few moments ago will be successful and supported through the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, the 911 Center, and is the same system that York County uses, so that ought to make it as efficient as it can be. I look forward to seeing you in person at our next meeting. Having to work from home this week is not something I would have chosen, but I'm appreciative of my staff for their support and for you to allow me to participate this way. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And Randy, we appreciate what staff does in your absence as well. Council directives. We'll start with Bud.
I would just like to welcome our new employees, Joshua and Danielle. I'm glad to have them working with the city, and thank everybody at home and here who are paying attention to their government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Andrews.
Same, welcome to our new employees, and I just wanted to, give an extra commendation to our fire department. We got to see the special ops vehicle tonight, which was amazing, and then the breathing apparatus, which are purchased, solely with grant funds, and writing a grant is not simple. You just don't write a grant. There's a formula to writing a grant to win it. That's why companies hire professional grant writers and to do that. So the fact that our fire department, in addition to doing their job as firemen, have now become such successful grant writers is just amazing to me. And, not only does it help the fire department, but it helps all the other city departments because they have vehicles that will need to be replaced and equipment that will need to be replaced that the city would have to pay for. So that therefore frees up that money for other departments. So I just want to commend them on the job that they have done. And after they retire, I think they could have a second career in grant writing.
Okay, thank you very much. Joe, forget what she said on that last part. There is no second career for you. You're here. All right, Councilman Canella.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just piggyback on those comments, and I know, just from the time I've spent at the firehouse, how much this means to Battalion Chief Braden. And a couple years ago, I remember he had some folks there from York County kind of showing him the new apparatus, and he said, try it on, and, just compared to the equipment we're using now and what the guys will get soon, I imagine it's just extraordinary. And we thank staff a lot, and, we kudos to them, but I just don't think they really understand how much it means to us and what it does for this city in that grant writing aspect, or, the time that Lieutenant Farrington has put into the body-worn cameras. It's easy for us to show up and approve it, but the work they do is just incredible, and it allows us as a council to do some pretty good things for the citizens too. So thank them, and especially Chief Ward for coming back and serving a little more than he already had. Appreciate that.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Hux.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no comment tonight.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Green.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, just one thing, just since our second meeting is after the mobile food pantry, I want to remind everybody that the mobile food pantry will be on the 22nd of September from 10 to 1 at the old municipal building. It'll be another drive-through, and our host this time are the Poquoson Masonic Lodge.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Vice Mayor Freeman.
Nothing further. I totally agree with what's been said about the fire and police. So just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you very much. I think everybody here is supportive of what they do every day, and again, you can't thank them enough. So, been a rough 2020, as I kind of alluded to. It's been rough for city staff, and I would just remind you, I wrote a letter to a citizen the other day, and I'll just point out that your city government, and it's really your city government as the citizens, it's not this council, did a fabulous job throughout some very trying times, and it's not over yet, okay? And it may, in fact, get worse before it gets better. But the ability to adapt and persevere and do your task and deliver the services to the city, most people just take it for granted that the city did that. It's that our staff did that. So again, the kudos go to our staff for a job well done in very trying times, and I appreciate everything that you do every day. So I always know that. With that said, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Okay, I won't even ask if there's any comments on that. So, Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman,
Aye.
Councilman Hucks,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Canella,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews,
Aye.
Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote to 7-0.
Very well, and we are adjourned.